This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling? You feeling good?
I'm good. I'm good. We're not that far away from the NFL draft. I'm getting pretty excited.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it'll be kind of boring that first day. We don't have a pick because we got some stupid ass owners that thought that they could go recruit Tom Brady. So that kind of kills the Dolphin Nation with no first rounder that first night. And I don't think they have even the ammunition to trade into the first round. Because I just don't think they're going to give away Tyreek Hill or something crazy to move into the first round.
Well, let me tell you, I'm a Bears fan, and I'm excited about the draft for a variety of reasons, but there's going to be an uncomfortable moment at the start of the second round when the Bears would have had the top pick, which is essentially a first round pick, except it was traded for Chase Claypool. So I just need to get past that. Once we get past that moment, which is going to be a little uncomfortable, I can't wait.
You don't like the Chase Claypool move?
I'll say this: I loved the DJ Moore move. I think Chase Claypool is his rookie season happened, and he showed a lot of promise, and he's even by NFL standards, he's a rare athlete. There are a few people who have those athletic traits. Like he's 6'4", 4.4 speed, 40-inch vertical. He can't catch anything downfield. He's just not a technician, right? And I listen, they've got DJ Moore now. They've got Darnell Mooney. They've got the contours of a reasonably effective receiving core. But I just can't imagine that Chase Claypool. I don't know. He's a wide range of outcomes guy because he's such a freakish athlete.
He caught him his first year downfield.
He did. They used him in really interesting ways. Pittsburgh also has they're mired in this weird Matt Canada OC experience that. So I give everybody a little bit of a pass because of that, because they're running such a
Mason Rudolph and other crappy quarterbacks too. At the same
time.
Yeah,
I mean he's not covered himself in glory exactly. He needs to be better. So I like the receivers who are going to be on the board at the top of the second round in all likelihood are players that I would be much more interested in than Chase Claypool. But that said, the Bears have a couple of second round picks. The Bears have a couple of first round picks in a better draft in 2024. So I'm generally excited about the trajectory of the franchise.
Could be a pretty decent combination for the Bears, bro.
The one thing I'll tell you, the other thing that can't happen is they can't throw the ball 22 times a game. That's what they averaged last year, 22.2 pass attempts per game. It's got to be, now that they have DJ Moore, now that they have a professional receiver who is a legitimate wide receiver one, they have to have a serious NFL passing offense instead of the unserious thing.
You can throw downfield and play that alley-oop game, and I think he can excel at that. With a guy like Fields, I don't know. We'll see.
You would think he's just not done it well to this point in his NFL career.
He's young, and he's also he's also a little bit, immature.
I feel like Mooney is that guy. Like I think they really have something between Darnell Mooney and DJ Moore, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and I'm glad. Hopefully, and the good thing about Fields is he's a great kid, so he's going to work hard to be really, really good, and that'll be fun to see him grow, man. Because I've always had hope for him after watching him at Ohio State. The toughness that he brings to the table, it's just shit like that you just don't teach, and he's got leadership qualities to him. So it'll be interesting to see if he can take that next step this year as a passer. That's if he becomes a passer, holy shit. Wow, that becomes scary because you saw it with Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? I don't fear the guy that it's only running. Eventually that will run out of gas, and you might surprise and you might shock for a little while like Cam did and Lamar will do. But brother, if you can't win from the pocket, you're not going to really get it done in the end. In the NFL.
I'll tell you,
excited about for Justin, because I think he can do what Jalen Hurts did. I believe.
I'll tell you something that, and I was having this conversation yesterday with Matt Harmon, our podcast host at Yahoo. I feel seriously like the one thing that the Bears haven't done, and this is a thing that I think Fields should unlock, and the Bears can unlock. They haven't really, until like the second half last year, when we really began to see several designed runs for Field, and they were kind of playing off that a little bit. We haven't seen them take advantage of the way that you can dictate terms to a defense when you have a great rushing quarterback, right? They haven't done it at all. Like, you start looking at what the Eagles do with Hurts, and I remember a couple times last year we saw that little, the old Tim Tebow play near the goal line where it would be like a fake quarterback draw and then it'd be this jump pass to a wide open receiver, because you absolutely had to respect the run because he's going to frickin' score, right? Like, the Eagles did that last year and it just felt unfair because you have to honor it, and the Bears just haven't really done anything to utilize take advantage of the gravity that someone like Fields has as a rusher, where, and the Ravens were doing it with Lamar, where like he'd press the line of scrimmage a little bit, the entire defense would come up because you have to honor the run, and then there's a guy running free downfield, and that's what we need to see. Like, the Bears need to add that to the offense because it really just plainly wasn't there last year.
Yeah, no, I'm interested to see if this young man can turn the corner. Report now says that maybe the Titans could be interested in Aaron Rodgers. How much are you believing that?
It would be really unfortunate for Aaron Rodgers because there's a perfect environment for him in New York. I'm sure they're interested. The Jets are talking about the Rodgers thing like it's a done deal. I'm not sure exactly when it happens, but that is a pretty unappealing environment right now in Tennessee. There's not I like Treylon Burks just fine. He's not Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson was unbelievable last year, and the environment that they've created for him in New York between Breece Hall and some of the secondary receivers, all of the receivers that Rodgers has asked for that have landed there. I mean, New York's just a great environment, and they're a contender to make a pretty deep run with Aaron Rodgers, and it's a little bit of an offensive wasteland in Tennessee. Like, it's Derrick Henry and Aaron Rodgers, and like, not a lot at receivers. Again, I think Burks can be something, but there's no depth there. So obviously a much better landing spot in New York.
Yeah, no, I listen, you're right. It would be a better landing spot in New York. The question is, does Rodgers even want to play in Tennessee? That's really the question. Listen, with Derrick Henry there, the line, they've lost a little bit, but they still have a couple decent players on that line. You're right. The wide receiving core has got to be upgraded. They've got a tight end. Their defense is all right. But in the end, I mean, he would obviously elevate them. But still, does he want to go there? And I think you can't even make that trade, even if you're Green Bay, even if you're trying to leverage off from the Jets and trying to use something else. You can't just move Rodgers somewhere because he'll just say, no, I'm not reporting. And
right.
So then he'll say, well, then we're not doing this deal if you're not reporting.
That's the thing. He's got a choice in the matter. He's not like a third-year quarterback or something like that. And it's clear that he is prepared to walk away. Like, I don't think that's a bluff. Like, he's been talking about it long enough and he's made enough money that I'm fairly confident that he is okay with the idea of walking away if he can't land in a situation that suits him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, the chosen one is in town for the Miami Dolphins. Robbie Anderson is. I really have a problem calling him chosen. I really do. It's just so silly. But anyway, I look at it as it's not even a gamble. Minimum salary. If he can help you, he helps you. He makes the team. If not, you let him go. It's a back end receiver in the end. Does it really matter? It's not that big a deal. But how do you look at the signing of?
It's funny, oftentimes Anderson goes places where he's clearly like the, for better or worse, and he's not, he hasn't done anything in a couple of years, right? Like he's not been a relevant NFL player in a couple of years. But in the past, he's been this great deep threat. I mean, he'd be like the third fastest guy on the in the Dolphins receiving corps. It's not even a trait that they lack, right? Like there's really nothing here with Anderson. Plus, he's been pretty noisy in the past when things aren't falling his way, and he doesn't necessarily have the talent level to justify some of the noise. So it's a flyer, but I would imagine that at the first sign of trouble, and if he doesn't impress them, they'll let him walk. I don't know that. I mean, if he couldn't make any noise last year with the Cardinals, I really don't see anything happening with Miami.
Should Bills fans be nervous about Stefon Diggs not reporting to the offseason program?
No, I don't think so. Like this is, maybe people have it in their mind that the last time they actually saw Stefon Diggs on camera, he was yelling at Josh Allen on the sidelines, but I didn't think that was particularly serious. This is kind of typical off-season sort of posturing, veteran maneuvering. I wouldn't pay the slightest bit of attention to it. The Stefon Diggs, Josh Allen relationship has been kind of glorious over the last 3 seasons. I wouldn't let it bother me at all. I mean, Stefon Diggs deserves whatever compensation is coming his way down the road. He's just a master technician. And again, these last 3 years, he's just been metronomically consistent at an extremely high level, right? Like I think I was just looking at his per 17 game average over the last 3 years during his tenure in Buffalo. And it's like, it's 1,400 plus yards. It's 10 touchdowns. It's 100 plus receptions. Like I just wouldn't worry about Diggs at all. Diggs is one of those few guys who could, if he didn't show up until August, it would be fine.
Hall of Fame numbers is what the guy is putting up. That's what
no question about it.
He's setting himself up into the Hall of Fame. All right. This story about the Niners not selling Trey Lance, but people are calling because they might be interested in buying. I'm just wondering, what in the world are they offering for Trey Lance at this point? And I'll ask you the same question I asked Matt Verderam here. If you're the Niners, you can go ahead and tell everybody they're calling you about Trey Lance, but the reality is they're not offering you first or second rounders.
Right.
They're probably offering you third day picks in the 4th or 6th or 7th round area. And it'd be more of an embarrassment for you as a franchise to trade him for a measly pick or 2 measly picks than to actually try to see if he can play. And I get the whole Purdy thing, but you gave up 3 first rounders in a second. I'm not sure this is the kind of conversation, if you're the Niners, you really want to have publicly, because I don't know where you win in this conversation.
I agree with you there. It's going to be a bad look, because I can't imagine. I think at some level this is a little bit of an indictment of the current quarterback class, which in my view, and who am I? But in my view, it's Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. And then, Richardson is an interesting flyer, but there's not I don't know. I don't think Levis is going to be a franchise quarterback necessarily. There's I don't know. I don't see a lot here. So it's a little bit of a reflection of the current quarterback class. Like there's more teams that should be interested in adding a young franchise quarterback than there are quarterbacks available who are obviously NFL caliber starters. So I think that's what you're seeing here. So I totally get it. If teams are kicking the tires on Trey Lance and they were interested a couple of years ago, they should probably be interested today, because we've barely seen him on the field, right? Like even last year, he played 1 game in a hurricane in Chicago, and like that was it. So we don't have a lot of NFL tape.
Matt had a great stat. He's thrown 400 passes in 5 years.
Like since high school, right? Like that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. And he had a flawless season in college at a pretty low level against, there's
you remember when we used to say Mark Sanchez didn't have enough experience with like 19 or 17 full games in USC?
Yeah.
That was at USC.
That's at USC. Real schedule.
Yeah. Right. Real schedule and all that talent that he had with him. And when he came out of the draft, the criticism was he hasn't played enough football. You don't know enough about the guy. And here's this guy, Trey Lance, who they gave up way more playing on a lesser school and has played way less football than Mark Sanchez ever did at this point. That's how crazy it is because, dude, we were super critical of Mark Sanchez coming out of school because he didn't play a lot of football. A lot of people were worried about that, and it ended up becoming a problem for Mark Sanchez because there was like he hit his roof or his ceiling. Let me get away from Michael Jordan. He hit the ceiling. I mean the ceiling, not the roof, right away. It was over for him. And it was bad.
I can imagine a team giving up a second round pick, especially if you've got a couple of second rounders. I can imagine a second round pick for Trey Lance. I doubt very much anybody's giving a first for Trey Lance. So
I don't even think they're giving
no matter how this goes, it's a really bad look for San Francisco because you can't get back the draft capital that you traded for him. But I like there's a the other thing, the flip side to this story is that Brock Purdy made some comments the other day that suggest that he is not a lock to play at any point in the season ahead. Huge worry. And so now we're going to go into this season with, man, that the Niners are crazy because they're so good everywhere. Like you could literally drop, Derek Carr onto that team and they are the favorite in the NFC, right? You don't.
They should trade for Aaron Rodgers.
Yes. But you don't even I have not been impressed at really any point by Jimmy Garoppolo necessarily. And they damn near won a Super Bowl with him. You don't you need a Kirk Cousins level quarterback there. You don't need like a top 5 NFL quarterback to win with that team because they have everything.
Yeah.
And we're going to Sam Darnold's going to quarterback that team. That is unbelievable. This is an incredible.
I've never been a Sam Darnold guy.
No,
ever. Not at USC. I hated the fact that he was a turnover machine. But I got to tell you something. In that system, with that coach, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually plays decent football with him. And that
Sam Darnold almost everybody who quarterbacks in. Almost everyone who quarterbacks for Shanahan with that team walks away with career highs in yards per attempt and all sorts of metrics that matter. They had people convinced that Nick Mullins, who throws 3-4 balls a game that hit defenders in the hands, people were making the case for him as an NFL starter. It's a super quarterback friendly system. And I have no doubt that Sam Darnold, who's had, at least some moments with Carolina in the past, that he can cobble together a decent, drop Baker Mayfield in there. There's so many guys who you could drop into that system and they would lead that team to 12 wins.
That line is impeccable. You have the running backs. You have one of the 2 best tight ends in the NFL. You have 3 receivers. It's a loaded offense. So loaded. And then you have a great play caller.
You have a perfect modern running back. You have absolute disruptors on defense. You have game wreckers on defense. Yes. So you've got literally everything except a competent quarterback.
Right.
It's just a wild thing that they haven't been able to solve.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude, because that window is wide open for them to challenge for multiple titles. And they're not in the mix because of that one guy that they're missing. It's absolute insanity. All right, what are you working on Yahoo so folks can check you out?
Just recorded a bit of an NFL preview podcast where we focused on the Eagles and the Bears with Matt Harmon. We've got a whole bunch of preview podcasts coming out over the next couple of weeks, and then we're right into draft coverage.
All right, good stuff. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens. Andy, as always, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you immensely. We will catch up next week.
Thanks, Big O. Catch you later.
You got it, baby. There you go. Andy Behrens, always coming through for us. And by the way, you go to Sports Grill, they come through for you. 8 great locations. They added the new Doral location now. It's about a mile north on 87th Avenue, right off the golf course where the Doral golf course is at, right on 87th Avenue. You keep going a mile north, probably right there, and you'll see it on the right side. It is gorgeous. It is awesome. You're going to love it. Go check it out. You can take your favorite sauces home, like the Miami Heat, the Dale, the barbecue. I'm telling you, man, and they've got all kinds of specials and deals going on every single day. Today is Wednesday. Kids eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. We love that. On Mondays, they've got the $7 single smash burger, and on Tuesdays, the $2 tacos, chicken, beef, or fish. Check it out. Go to the website. Check out where one of the 8 locations is nearest to you, and also go on the social media pages on Instagram and on Twitter. Follow them at Sports Grill so you can find out about some of the specials and some of the things they've got going on. Sports Grill, baby. You're going to love it.